begin, I would like to thank the members and the board members of Institute of Steel Development and Growth for giving us young engineers such a wonderful opportunity where young engineers can present our ideas and learn more about steel design. So thank you. And without doing any further ado, let us jump right into my presentation. So before going deep, I would like to start with a simple introduction. So due to this pandemic, we all know what a quarantine center is. It is a center where people are being isolated and restricted because they were contaminated by a disease or a virus. As we saw that countries which had most quarantine centers were able to control the pandemic in a very easy manner. So at sometimes in India and also we wanted to quarantine center at the earliest. By the use of available steel sections in the market, a structure was erected at the earliest. So in my presentation, we will be discussing about the design and analysis of space stress and its various connection. Before going deep again, I will like to give a very small intro what a space stress is. A space stress is a structural system where linear elements are arranged in such a way that the force are transferred in a three-dimensional manner. As you can see here, this is a space stress in Abu Dhabi, and this helps us to cover very large areas. Why we need to cover large areas with few internal support, I will tell you guys in a minute. So this was the given objective, as we all know, to design a safe, simple, creative, yet an economic quarantine center. So when we started to plan and design our quarantine center, we approached it with the concept. Right now, as we all know, we are in a high demand for COVID-19 quarantine center right now. But will be the case similar after 10 years? Will there be will there be a necessity for COVID-19 quarantine center? Or what if there is a new pandemic at that time? What if by God's grace there is no pandemic at that time? What will happen to this structure? So keeping in this things in mind, we wanted to design the quarantine center in a manner that it should be accessible at any time for any purpose. That it should be accessible for any multi-purpose. And in space stress, since we are using very hollow tube sections, it resulted in very lightweight and economical design. So this is an example here. As you can see, the width we do not have any internal supports. And this is my proposed plan and elevation. As you can see here, these are the only main rafters here. I have placed 5 main rafters, and these are the purlins. And at the corners on and only, I have presented columns. There are only 10 columns, and in middle there are no columns whatsoever. And before going deep again, I would like to familiarize you guys with some terms and in space frame. This is a main lattice member, right? In this main lattice member, this top green lines are known as the top codes, and in bottom this is known as bottom code, and these are known as the web members. And again, as I said, this is a rendered model of my structure. As you guys said, again, since there are no obstruction in middle or whatsoever, we can use this quarantine center for whatso purpose, or due to if in future there is a new pandemic, and if you wanted to design it for that accordingly, we can also change the interior somehow. And this is just an elevation. Now, in the pre-analysis part, what I did was I considered every type of load according to the respective Indian standard, as I mentioned here: dead load, live load, wind load, seismic load, and temperature stresses. And when we apply in stresses, it is only proper to apply it as a joint load for better accurate analysis. And I also considered the various load combinations for strength and serviceability from IS 800 plus 3.5.1. An analysis of the space stress. As we all know, analysis is a very important part, because if and only it is accurate, then we can design economic design. So when we started to look up for analysis of space stress, what we found was a common statement everywhere. Authors such as Subramanian and Tiandan have stated that the analysis of space stress through manual method was time consuming and complex. I'm not telling it was impossible or hard. I'm telling it is very time consuming. So what they were mentioning was to use with the help of software, we will be able to do it in a time sufficient manner. So even in our case, with we had very lesser time, so we did it with the help of software, and we cross checked with our manual methods. In our case, we use tension coefficient method to cross verify. For, as I said earlier, in software analysis, I just designed a main lattice in SAP 2000, and then for a single module, as I have shown here, we cross-checked manually. These are the result. As you can see, the force obtained manually matches very well with the force obtained through software data. That means our analysis through both software as well as manually are accurate. And these are just some tables from software which shows that the values are matching us. After the analysis part, for the full structure, we use the stat row. This is a force diagram obtained in our stat row diagram. And this is the full structure which we designed in analysis and design in StatPro. And after analyzing for proper economic design, we have to properly design the trust member. Using the help of StatPro, we resolved the members are compression and tension and followed the proper Indian standard for compression and tension members. As you can see here, for compression member, I did first the section classification, and then I checked whether the design compressive strength check and the compressive resistance ratio check. And for tensile member, first I checked the preliminary tension resistance check. And we as all know, for a tensile member to be strong, the connection needs to be strong. So we checked for the connection such as yield strength, rupture check, and block shear check. This is a table from StatPro which matches our manual design. Again, this is all the results obtained through manual design. For beam number, I have shown one compression example and one tension example. This is the load applied, and as you can see, through when we assign this member, this are the design strength, and as you can see, the design strength are greater than the load, so it passes safely. And for other parts of member, we use for various parts of member, we used various section in a, because we cannot just simply use the higher load resistance section. It would be very uneconomical. So at various parts, we tended to use various members at various places, thus resulting in an economic design. And after designing an economic truss, we went to column. So when we started to design column, again, what I noticed was when we used a normal conventional I section or C type section, the load was forced to transfer, the load was forced to transfer at one point. Thus, we were required to select a section of higher depth, resulting in uneconomic design. So what I did was, excuse me. So what I did was to present, what I did was I made a built-up section where the top codes and bottom codes were transferring the load separately to the each member separately. This is somewhat similar to the space truss design, and this lacings are done in a manner that the web similar to our web design, as you can see. And also in Indian standards, it is mentioned that we can use tube section as lacing. And when we went to proceed to manual design the columns, we saw there is a bending moment acting here, so we cannot design it as a concentric column. So we opted the beam column procedure. So first we classified the section and checked whether the compressive strength is strong, and then check whether it has capable design moment resistance check. And after that, we checked with the overall member ratio check, lateral resistance check, buckling check, and for last, the lacing strength check to transfer the loads. And again, this is the result obtained through manual report. For this beam number, this is the beam column. This was the load acting and the moment acting. This was the load and moment acting, and this way the member assigned in strength, and this was the result and design strength. These are greater than the load applied and the moment applied. You guys might be thinking, why I have used a member with this much of high design strength and moment? Because when I started with in my manual report, I started with a similarly small section. It passed in separately in design and moment strength check. But when I checked for the local resistance ratios check, it was greater than 1. So after that only I had to use a very large section. Even in StatPro, if I use a member lesser than this, it failed. As you can see here, for lacing, it passes normally. And as I said, in truss member, for column member and lacing member, I have used various types of section at various positions. Okay. So after the column, we went to design the foundation. We designed a simple but yet an effective rectangular foundation. The area and thickness were depending upon the load and the net upward pressure, and the depth of foundation was depending upon the net upward pressure, and the area of reinforcement was depending upon the bending moment. And then we checked whether it passed in one-way shear and two-way shear. With this, I conclude my design of member, and now I dive into the design of connection. After designing a properly safe structure, it is our duty to properly design a connections. In my connection, there were various connections such as octatube base plate connection, weld connection, gusset base plate connection. But for each, I at least shown an example in my manual report for at least one connection. As I said, this is an octatube base plate connection. I hope you are able to see this. This is just to connect the various truss member at various top codes, bottom code, and web point. And when we started to connect the lacing members, what we observed is through bolt, if we connect, it was very complex. So we just opted the simple weld here for columns. And similarly to the gusset blade, we welded and bolted to the column pedestal. Now we will go deep in each of this connection. So octatube base plate connection. In octave base plate connection, before I go very deep into this, I would like to say some very small things. In space frame on in space trusses, what there are two types of connection: either an octave base plate connection here, or through the spherical nodal connection. Just a second. Uh, Spherical nodal connections. This is an octave base plate connection. In octave base plate connection, as you can see through its name, there are 8 node plates in an octave, and thus it can connect at least 8 members at once. And this is a spherical nodal connection. This is a simple design, but it is very costly. But this can be prepared by our local fabricators and manufacturer. So I opted with this octave base plate connection. And another thing is, when the load in the member is comparatively low, we will just at the end of the member, we will just cone and flat the member and connect it. But if the load is very comparatively high, we will just attach a simple gusset plate, also known as shear plate, so that the load is transferred safely to the connections. As you can see, we did a simple design. This is the design strength for every plate: node plate and shear plate and flattened tube plate. And for the spot for the bolt, we checked for the shear and bearing. And this is the manual results obtained in my report. For top coat, as I said earlier, it is a very high load, right? So I have attached a shear plate right here. So due to this, when we check the design strength of the plate for yield, rupture, and block shear, the design strength was greater than the load, and thus the design strength of bolt was also greater. For web, the load was comparatively low, and thus we didn't want to attach any additional gusset plate. So we just flattened the tube and attached it. As you can see here, this diagram are not from any part. I specifically drafted it for my structure and with proper edge distance and proper detailing. And after the design of truss member, when we went to column member, as I said earlier, we were not able to bolt it, so we went for the simple weld here. So uh, right here, when we wanted to check for the available, so the required weld length, we calculated the required weld length to the design strength of the weld formula. And after knowing it, we checked whether there is available length for weld. But in some cases, the available length will be lesser than the required length. At that point, I will attach gusset plates, and thus making the available length greater than the required length of weld. In my report, I have exclusively shown an example where the available length was initially lesser than the required length, and thus after attaching additional triangular gusset plate, the weld length was sufficient. And again, this is a manual report table. This was the results obtained. This was the thickness of weld, and this was the required weld length. And after providing additional gusset plate, this is the weld length provided. As you can see, this is greater than this, so the connection is safe for weld. And after this, similar to our gusset plate connection, the concept was similar. First, we had to design the gusset plate's area and thickness based upon the load and the network pressure acting on it. And then we had to connect the three separate members of column to the gusset plate through weld design. Similar to the earlier weld connection, I did the same. As you can see, this was the gusset plate width, length, and thickness, and this is the load and moment. For this, the value came right around like this. As I shown, this is a simple example to show the triangular gusset plate, but in my project, I use a rectangular gusset plate right here. And for different, as I said earlier, there were 3 members in my column. So for each member, I designed a specific weld so that our length provided is greater than the required length. And the technical part in my structure was to check for the deflection. The maximum deflection in my structure was noted in Stat Pro at node 833. So according to the IS 800 table 6, the allowable deflection for live load and wind load were 145.8 mm each. So the deflection present was lesser than the allowable deflection, so the structure was passed. So to conclude, I have presented the bill of quantities. As I said earlier, I have used various section at various places, but it will pass. But I have used various section so that there is an economic design. This is a bill of quantity for RCC members. And to conclude, I would say that I have designed a structure in a safe, creative, yet in an economical way by using space truss and even using hollow section as column and lacing member. And as I said earlier, if by God grace there is no pandemic in the future, we can also use it for other purposes such as uh, for commercial and industrial purpose such as factories and internal auditoriums. And to conclude, I have the structure's total weight is 34.9 tons in steel, making the kg per square feet area as 1.89 kg per square feet. And another thing is, when we contact our local steel companies and fabricators for PEB truss, they were saying that the kg per square feet was 2.3 to 2.5, resulting a total weight in 46 tons. And for 2D trusses with intermediate columns, they said the kg per square feet was 2.9 per square feet. So it, when calculated, it was for our area, it was resulting in 55 tons. Even if we did PEB design, I think I have saved at least 11 tons, which in today's steel rate, I think the tube rate, MS plate rate is 75. I think I have saved at least 8 lakhs. So I think I have presented an economical design. And again, thank you for the jury members and the members of Instack for giving me an opportunity where I can present my ideas in a very national level platform. Thank you, one and all.